I think you were showing us also, Barry, that you have created a spreadsheet. So I think the next step would be, okay, so now we start from your strategy. Now, how can you build kind of like a risk management tool similar to what the developer would do or would build without having actually any developer skills? So you do everything with AI and you use that data to kind of like also help you with trade management, which I think was pretty interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I'll show that to you. I'll start off with because I don't have programming skills. What I did was I talked to the AI, and you kind of have to talk to it like a human and really explain exactly what you want effectively. And then you can also with Chat GPT, you can go to the developers console and optimize your prompt. I do that a lot. Um, but in this case, I looked at my strategy, which, as I said before, was initial balance breakout. Okay, so I have a little chart here on the lower left-hand corner of the screen that tells me what the 20-day max is, what the average is, what the minimum is, what it was for today. So I was able to take this variable, just let's say I round it to 24, and I was able to say to the LLM, help me define a risk plan based on all the factors and all the inputs that I know about the MES and my initial balance breakout. Sort of lay that out to the thing. Then I tell the LLM, in this case it was ChatGPT, I told it that 69% of the time when I break the IB, I go 1.5, I go another 50% of the way down. Also, 67% of the time I retrace 25% of the time, or 25% of the distance. So I put all that into the LLM, answered any of its questions, and it spit out the most amazing spreadsheet for me to work with, which I can show you here. How's that look?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So you saw what I just had. It doesn't matter whether it's high or low, and I'm just kind of showing you this for an example. But I was able to come up with this spreadsheet through using ChatGPT, and it tells me what to do with all the different parameters, and I have the ability to change the parameters and see how that affects my my risk, my reward, my dollars, and everything. So let me just kind of explain how it works. So, for example, the initial balance size is 24, and that's what I showed you was the initial balance size. Which is the average initial balance size. So let's say it was 24. I input that. I say, well, where do I want to? There's a 67% of the time there's a retracement of up to 25% of the distance. Do I want to enter on 10% of the distance? What'll happen if I do that? What if I enter at 25%? But I might miss the trade. So what if I do 20%? I've wanted to experiment with all of these different ideas. What about my stop? Should it be 0.25? Should it be 0.3 so that I don't get stopped out, etc. I know what my target is. I know how many contracts I might want to use. So if I just use 3, which is in everybody's budget. By the way, that's what I use for like $50,000 prop accounts. I use 3 contracts because you don't want to oversize. What's your point per MES? $5. Assume target hit probability. I know it's 69% over the last 1,000 sessions. With the NQ, it's 71%. So I have these statistics for every one of my products. And then I can assume that my stop is going to be hit 30% of the time. That's my assumption. And then I just put in an entry price. This was from another day, and it just calculates everything. So it tells me what my risk per contract is, what my total risk would be on 3 contracts, $72. What my total reward is 216, and what my multiple is. So if you're doing a prop account and you're sizing yourself small, and I'm looking at losing $72 versus gaining $216, I know that's a strategy that I can win on in past prop accounts or make money on in my real account. So then I said, well, I want to be sure that I have enough inventory on when I'm in this particular trade. And if there's a 67% chance that it's going to retrace 25%, what can I do to make sure that I get some inventory on? Well, I could put one on at a 10% retracement. I could put a contract on at 20%, put a contract on at 30%, or I could put one on at 25%, etc. So I have these different ladder inputs, and the ladder inputs can then go through and show me what show me how that changes my my potential trades and how my potential risk is. So this is just a really interesting way of looking at, well, what's the best, most efficient way that I can put my capital to risk while at the same time mitigating risk. And then the LLM actually came up with this idea, and I started working through it, of creating a heat map based on where my entries are and where my stop percentages are to come up with, under an expected value scenario, where my best entry and stop positions might be. So what this says is if I enter at a 5% retracement and I put my stop at a 20% retracement, I'll have the greatest expected value. So I'm not sure I trust this math yet because I'm trying to wrap my head around. I told Fabio this is still a work in progress, but it's pretty cool to be able to model this out. Or, maybe I want to have my stop at 30% just to be a little bit safer, make sure that I have a higher win percentage. And maybe I want to enter a little bit deeper so that I get more excursion. So those are kind of the things that I've been working through with this LLM. But it all starts with the very simple calculator, then my laddered scenarios. Because there's been days when I don't get a 25% pullback and I just miss the trade, and I'm like super frustrated. I'd say, well, I would have rather made $100 today than nothing. So what can I do to make sure that I have inventory on for this trade? And that's where I started thinking about laddering into things. So I think really at the end of the day, it's you have to trading like a business, meaning you have to know your numbers. If you're selling coffee mugs, first you figure out which ones are selling the most, and then what their margin is, and you want to optimize the inventory you're carrying by the things that are helping you make the most money. And the same goes in trading. You want to figure out how to keep your risk in check, but sell as much inventory or move as much inventory as possible. And doing the math and having the math in your favor gives you a lot of confidence to scale up. So you got MenthorQ to tell you where things are likely to hit, and then you can use math to leverage your confidence. So what I mean by that is the more confident I get, the more times that I see it happen, the more I'm willing to put more and more contracts to work.
Yep.
or using prop. I'll tell you a quick story. I had an amazing, 5-figure month in July, and I said, I really want to leverage myself. I really want to get bigger with my size. Well, something weird happened as I increased my size 2 to 3x, and I started making different decisions. I started getting really nervous at the price fluctuations. I wasn't able to hold. I was getting chopped up. So August, I had basically a break-even month. I said, okay, I need to figure out a different way to leverage this stuff. So in September, I started buying a bunch of prop accounts, and I figured out how to mirror my real money accounts in prop. And I don't get nervous when I'm putting on 3 to 6 contracts in a prop account. Like, that doesn't make me nervous at all.
Yeah.
And then it's 10 to 30 contracts in my regular account.
Yeah.
Instead of going from 30 to 60 contracts in my regular account, which started to do things to my psychology. I became less confident, even though nothing changed.
Yeah.
The levels are the levels and the math is the math, but I didn't have the intestinal fortitude to handle the risk, even though I had the account size to handle the risk. I just didn't like losing. I just didn't like the thought of losing the money. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, guys, I mean, this is a very good takeaway on, you start building a strategy, you size up, you hedge, you use prop accounts, you obviously manage your real account, and then of course you can get and then you can get creative, and then you can do a lot of the things that you do when you sell options, if you like. There's different ways of getting into the underlying, so you could actually just buy it, or you could actually use options to be more flexible and potentially get more leverage. So
yeah, something Massive said in the comments about be careful with chat GPT. It suffers from hallucinations, and that's definitely true. And one of the commands that I give whenever I do math like this is at the end, I say, check your work, double check your work, check the output. If you change anything, tell me what you changed and why you changed. And so that will go in and so, for example, in my spreadsheet, this particular spreadsheet, I found that it was subtracting my retracements from my total gain instead of adding. So in other words, if you break the IB and you go back 5 points and enter, you're adding 5 more points to your ultimate target. So you're going to have a better trade if you get in on a retracement. But ChatGPT was subtracting it. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So
yeah, and always, of course, I mean, you have to check, but the AI can really help you streamline that workflow. So
yeah. And Quinn has been like the pocket friend, because I have all these screens open, and sometimes I can go into the MenthorQ tools, and other times just having it on my phone is great.
Yeah, and we're going to do an official launch of Quinn in October, middle of October. So guys, stay tuned. But for those who are already using us, whether you have a free account or a paid account, you can actually access Quinn already. So you can come on Discord. There's all the instruction there, and then we'll do an official launch basically in October. But it's a very great tool to use to support your idea. And the goal behind it is going to be kind of like an assistant that can help you make sense of the data. It's a lot of complicated data. It's a lot of complicated information, but with the help of AI and a lot of data that we provide, you can actually make sense of what's going on in the market.
Yeah, so pretty good NQ. Trade is setting up. So what's happening is it's building out a little bit of a high value node here. It's trading back and forth. in that zone that I want to go long. I think for me, another tool I use is these moving averages. This is a 7 and a 21, and when they cross up, like I can visualize this trade. They cross up right above GEX 5. We have a retracement on GEX 5. Boom, it's going right up here. Like that's a 40-point no-brainer long for me.
Yep, makes sense.
With risk being below. If I'm wrong, it's gonna drop right back through. But I want to wait for these moving averages to turn up and a pull back to GEX 5, and that seems like a good long.
Yep.
But I hope you can see how I'm using MenthorQ to just give me confidence, because without these levels, and maybe that's okay, but let's just turn them off. What am I looking at here? Well, I'm looking at a high volume node. I'm looking at an inventory build out. So, with a flush or it's going to turn up. Well, my bias is that it's going to turn up. But I mean, it still could flush. But we're already too short. We're already down 142 points on a buy the dip environment. So I don't feel great going short.
Yep.
I don't mind selling puts. Okay. So if it does flush, you can be sure that I'm selling puts somewhere below put support. Probably around below the 2,500.
Yep.
I usually sell 20 and 30 delta puts, 7 DTE.
Okay.
So I'm getting some good time premium. Sorry, I sell the Fridays. So today's Wednesday. So I would sell Fridays. If today was Monday, I would sell Fridays. Whatever it is, I sell Fridays. That way I don't have to hold into the weekend. I don't have to think about it and worry about it. I can just, I just know what my put strategy is every single week.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, let us know, guys, if you have other questions. There was one on Litecoin and Bitcoin. So let me just answer that quickly, Barry, and then we can see if we have more questions. So within MentorQ, you have access to our crypto models, and basically here you can see basically all the crypto that we cover. So we do have Litecoin here, but Litecoin does not actually have options activity or derivatives on the spot crypto coin. So there's not a lot of option going on Litecoin yet, but we do have a lot of option data on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So you can actually come here, look at Bitcoin, and you can access all our models on crypto. So here you have our gamma exposure, our swing trading model here. So you can see our lower band and upper band. So if you are directional, you can kind of see your targets or your risk, your risk levels. You have a lot of different things here. We have our volatility surface, but the cool thing is that you can now convert also. If you trade Litecoin, then you can actually plot the Bitcoin levels on Litecoin. So you can see here how the put support was a very strong reaction area, and then the put support 0DT was actually a very strong reaction area to the downside. So yeah. Forex we cover. There's a question. Thank you, Peter. Within Forex, we cover Australian dollars, Canadian, Euro, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and British pound. So those 6 currencies. And
Yeah, I trade Bitcoin, micro Bitcoin options also.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, futures contracts. They were great with the MenthorQ levels.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can have blind spot levels on Forex. They typically work pretty well. So they have a blind spot level here, and we have gamma levels as well. So another question. So we have, yes, we have FX futures. So they are pretty reliable, but yeah, you have to account that most of the Forex volume is not done on futures, but we do have gamma levels on futures. And then we also have blind spot level on the main Forex pair. So you can actually use a new algorithm that we developed for Forex specifically, which is leveraging not only option data, but a series of micro correlation and a series of other tools. But yeah, this one could have been very interesting. All right. I think we're almost at the hour, Barry. So I really want to thank you because this was awesome. And I'm going to try and get you more involved in the future as well, because I think it was a very good showcase of your experience. And for those who are interested, just join us, create a free account. You can access some of our tools. You will be able to access Quinn once it's launched, and you'll be able to leverage some of our data as well. So create a free account. Any questions, please send us an email, info@mentorq.com. And of course, if you want to join us and access our premium product, you can sign up at mentorq.com as well. So thank you, Barry. And then I'll see you again in the room. And thank you for sharing all your experience.
My pleasure, everybody. It's great to see your questions. And if you're a member of the community, feel free to DM me or ask a question in the chat. And I'll just keep posting these setups. People keep asking me to post the setup, so I will. So you can test them yourself and see how you feel, and get as much data as possible on your own outcomes.
Yeah, and also to stay tuned, because as of the beginning of October, we're actually going to do a lot of live sessions. So stay tuned because there's a new schedule coming. So very excited. From now till the end of the year, we're going to be live almost every day. So please join us, and we're going to try and provide as much value as we can, showing you how to use the data, how to use the tools, and then of course provide some intel as well. So thank you guys.
Fabio,
yeah,
I want to say one other thing. I'm going to be in London and Ireland the first half of October. So if anybody is from that area, shoot me a DM and maybe we can get together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.